Okay, Virgo, welcome to your October 2025 reading with Shaman Dr. Friesen. This is the astronumerology for Virgo rising. Remember, your rising sign indicates how you rise towards life. And we're going to give you a lesson card. And let's see what that is. Doop, 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 doop. And it says adversity. I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. Ooh, Virgo being a learner, an avid learner at that. Um, I guess this is kind of timely. So, and this isn't we are in a climate of adversity. So that's very timely for you. And you will grow and learn from any challenges that you face, right? We are in October, which is the first month because it is a 10 and it's the 10th month and 1 plus 0 is 1. So we're now back into our second round of one energy, right? So January, October are the ones, February, November, the twos, March, December, the threes, right? So this is one energy again. And this is a time for leadership and structure. This is a time for you to actually, because you're, that planner, that person who's into the details, to make sure that you pay attention to the details as changes arise. Because one is new direction. 1 in 10 is like fulfillment. After you've had 9 months of chaos, if you've learned from that energy, normally in the 10th month, we like celebrating the victory. Like 10's like, yay. However, there's going to be some adversity because we have been in this nine spiritual energy. And with that nine spiritual energy, you have been tossed and turned and have not made all of your plans come to fruition. So then in this month, you're going to have a few challenges that you weren't expecting, and therefore you have to adjust quickly. That's the numerology energy. In addition to that, we in addition to that, we also have the astrology portion of the energy. And in the astrology portion, we're going to look at the traveling energies around the planets that are impacted or the houses that are impacted, which include the first house because we're in a one energy with this month, and the 10th house because 10 is actually that October energy. But the other thing you have to look at is what this means to you from your natal chart. Of course, the first house, the one energy, is your sixth Virgo energy. But one itself is also the Aries energy. And the Aries energy for you in your natal chart is your eighth house, which means you have some activity in your eighth house in addition to your first house, in addition to your 10th house that everybody has activity in. But you also have energy in your fifth house because your fifth house is where that 10 energy from Capricorn was in your natal chart. So for you, the houses that are important are 1, 5, 8, and 10. Now, part of this is looking at just one small part. It's looking at where you're working in the world because everybody's looking at that because everybody's being impacted. 10th houses, government, energy, career sectors, and things of that nature. But the majority of your energy is looking at your impact on others, and you're interested definitely in change and reform and structure, death of a regime, death of way things are being done, education and putting something in place for children and people who will want to learn from you. So you definitely could be looking at writing a master manifesto of sorts this month to make sure that the energy that you want to live in is put out there, like so someone else can learn about that energy and learn about whatever that topic is that is educational in your plans and your ideal of how life should be. Now, I do see that some of those ideals might be a little bit um, old way thinking and might not be received as well. For some of you in the Virgo, there's some of you who are writing some things that are like take you back in a way, and that's not necessarily going to be well received. But it is where you are. So there's some adversity with that. So let's start with the energies that are floating around your first house, your fifth house, your eighth house, and your 10th house, but sprinkled in with some energies that are in other places as well. So let's go forward here. We start out with young energy, a lot of go get 'em energy in your first house, a lot of um, making plans to get things done, but not just making plans, but actually taking action on something in your first house, your body, this could be your domestic sector, it could be like where you live. I'm doing these readings based on the United States, so it could literally be United States versus a different country, like in where you are taking action. If you are in the military, because there's also some military action, um, uh, I hate to even say this. This is like military action taking place in a domestic environment. So you could be involved in that. So uh, this October has really turned out to be something. Okay. So let's go forward. Let's move past that energy a little bit. And as we continue on, you're going to have that energy is staying there for at least it's over a week, and that energy is still there in that first house, might be even longer. Then you have mm, hmm, some close, some people close to you in the death house, some transitioning of people close to you. So it could be tied to that military action. That is the 13th. Some people, some loved ones, things that you see as a loving, stable kind of situation, kind of being blown apart around the 13th. Very difficult time. Let me just stop and say that I'm a death doula, so I'm not here just to give you guys the fluff of the beautiful things. I'm giving you the energy, the real energy, so that you can actually prepare for it and do something about it. Because when I see these things, it's not necessarily the best energy. Okay. I just always make sure you have things in order in your life. So the other part with the other place where you could be working outside of if you're working in a school or someplace like that, I see more of threats of violence in the school, not necessarily um, actual violence around the 17th, more of people being caught before they go through with the activity. So that's coming up here. You may be involved in that. You may be a teacher, you may be school resource officer or something like that to where you're involved in whatever activity that is going on at the school sector. Looks like you are having a love-hate relationship with your career. It's on one hand, you love it, but on the second, actually, there's three things that's going on with your career. In general, your career is something that you love, you wanted to be in. It was a desire of yours. On the second hand, it is interfering with your home life, and on the third hand, it looks like there's a lot of people, younger people, who are being coming into your field that's making you question whether or not this is the right place for you to be in. Okay. So different challenges there in the career sector. And that's around the 21st that you're in that state of questioning things. Um, if you work with technology, there's going to be that's like a firewall, a breach of computer data also around the 22nd with you. That's obviously important for you. So some data is going to be released that will impact your finances. Then let's see here. That's tied to your home life and your career. So your money will be impacted. They will find out who did it or what or how it happened, but it is going to impact your funds. Maybe have a restriction in your funds for a moment while that gets resolved or investigated. And then I just saw this. There is a balance issue with your body. That is the last week of October. There is This could be an equilibrium in the sense of like a hearing loss or a limb, damage to a limb to where you're kind of off balance, your gait is off, your walking is off. And then and it's definitely a health challenge in the last week um, that you weren't expecting, but it could immobilize you in some way, restrict your movement in some way at the last end of the month. And it is definitely looking at the balance. So one of the limbs, one of the ears, one of the eyes, something with one of your double senses, the arms, hands. One side is off at the end of the month. So as they say, sorry, kiddo. Wish I had more good news for you, but it's not a really great news for you, great month for you. You have to get through it. So that's what it is. You have adversity. You have to make it through the adversity. That's what this month is holding for you. Okay. Let's hopefully next month will be better. Hang in there. Bye.